If we were asked to find the area of this irregular shape, what we need to do is first divide this shape up into two rectangles. Because we know what the area of a rectangle is, we want to rather be working with rectangles than an irregular shape. So we just work with what we know. So let's divide our shape there down the middle. You could divide it there or you could divide it there. It's totally up to you. It won't change your answer at all, but it will change the working out that you end up doing. So if we divide our shape, which looks a bit like an L, down the middle there, then we are working with this shape here, that rectangle there, and this rectangle there. Right. So it's very important for us to firstly fill in our missing dimensions. So what we need to do when we are working with the area of irregular shapes or the perimeter of irregular shapes, we need to know that we should be working with our vertical lines and our horizontal lines. So where are our vertical lines? Remember, vertical lines are going from top to bottom or bottom to top. So they are upright. So we have got 13 centimeters there. That's one of our vertical lines. Then we've got 3 centimeters there, but we're not quite sure what this vertical line there is going to be. So we need to figure that out. And how are we going to do that? Well, if from there to there is 13, and because there to there is 3 centimeters, then we know that there to there is 3 centimeters as well. So this remaining part over here will therefore be equal to 13 centimeters minus this 3 centimeters there, which is equal to 10 centimeters. So we've got our 10 centimeters there. Now we need to figure out what that horizontal line is going to be equal to. So if we're looking there, we need to look at our other horizontal lines. We've got 8 centimeters there, and we've got 5 centimeters there. So because this area from there to there is 8 centimeters, and from there to there is 5 centimeters, we know that this remaining part over there is going to be equal to 8 minus 5, which is equal to 3 centimeters. So we end up with 3 centimeters there. So now what we can do is work with both our shapes. And what we want to do is, again, always write out the formula that we will be working with. So the area of this irregular shape will be the area of the first shape, let's call this one the first shape, plus the area of our second shape. Right. So now we say, well, the area of this first shape, we need to remember what our dimensions are. We're working with this long space here, so our dimensions will not be 10 by 3. We're not working with this side here because we're going all the way to the bottom. We're working with this shape. So our length of this shape is 13, not 10. So we're working with 13 centimeters multiplied by 3 centimeters. And then we are going to plus the area of our other shape, which will be here, 5 centimeters by 3 centimeters. And the reason we do not use this 8 centimeters is because this length here is not being, that entire length is not being used. It's only from here to here that the length is involved. So we've got 5 centimeters by 3 centimeters. And then we just need to work those out. So 13 multiplied by 3 is 39, and that's centimeters squared because we say centimeters multiplied by centimeters. And then we plus 15 centimeters squared because 5 times 3 is 15. And then we've got centimeters times by centimeters is centimeters squared. So then we've got 39 centimeters plus 15 centimeters, and that will give us an answer of 54 centimeters squared. Right, so that is how we work out the area of irregular shapes. The area of this irregular shape is equal to 54 centimeters squared. Right, let's have a look at the perimeter of this shape. Perimeter, again, what we need to work with is all the outside sides or lines of our shape. So let's just use P so that we've got more space. The perimeter of an irregular shape is simply adding all the sides together. So in this shape we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So we say side plus side plus side plus side plus side plus side. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides that we are adding together. So let's just remember not to double count. So we've got start with our 3. So we've got 3 centimeters plus 10 centimeters plus 5 centimeters plus 3 plus 8 and plus 13. Right, and if you do a calculation and work that out on the side, you will end up with an answer of 42 centimeters. So your perimeter of an irregular shape is simply adding all the sides together. Remember that you do not add the inside bits where you have divided the shape into 2 separate shapes. It is only the outside of the irregular shape. So the perimeter of this shape is equal to 42 centimeters. If we were asked to find what the area of this E shape is, what we need to do is divide our shape, our irregular shape that looks like an E, into 3 or 4 different shapes. And we would like to make rectangles or squares where possible, because we know what the formula for the area of a rectangle and square is. So as you can see, we will be making rectangles when we divide this E shape up into different shapes. We can create a rectangle there, and there, and there. So now we're working with 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles, and that makes up our irregular shape. Right, so now what we need to do is have a look at which of our which of our sides are missing dimensions. So we have got 3 meters, we've got 5 meters, we've got 9 meters and 2 meters. So we now need to work with what we've been given to find the measurements that we do not yet know. So because of these lines here, that indicates that all those sides are equal. So this side here is equal to 3 meters, this side is equal to 3 meters, and this side is equal to 3 meters because they are all equal to that side there. And because of these 2 lines on these sides, that indicates that each of those sides are going to be equal to this side, which is 5 meters. So each of these sides are 5 meters, 5 meters, and 5 meters. Right, so we've now got all these angles on the one side of the E where our arms are, and what we now need to do is figure out what this horizontal line there is. So because we've got 9 meters at the bottom here, we know that this top will also be 9 meters. Right, so now we need to figure out what this side is going to be. So we work with our vertical lines because this is a vertical line. So we work with our 3 meters there, 3 meters there, 3 meters there. We've also got another 3 meters there, and we've got 2 meters there. So if we were to bring this 3 meters across here, that would get us to 3 meters, plus another 3 meters, that gives us 6, plus another 3 gives us 9, plus 2 gives us 11, and plus another 3 gives us 14. So we end up with 14 meters on the side there. Now that we've got all our dimensions and all our measurements, we can now start working on the area of each of our little triangles, our little rectangles. So let's start. The area of an irregular shape, remember we need to add all the different shapes up according to how we've divided it up. So we've got one shape with the area of shape 1 plus the area of shape 2 plus the area of shape 3 plus the area of shape 4. Right, so the area of our first shape here, what we need to do is figure out what our dimensions are. So we are working with this rectangle there. That is how we've divided it up. And we're not working with this full 9 meters. We are only working from there to there. So we need to figure out what that space is. So because we've got 9 meters, which is this whole top section, top line, and we've got 5 meters there, which is another horizontal line that we are using to find this missing line there, that will give us 9 minus 5, which is equal to 4 meters. So we are now working with 4 meters by 14 meters. So our first little triangle, rectangle that we've divided up, is 14 by 4. Then the second rectangle is 5 meters by 3 meters. And we've actually got 3 of those exact rectangles. We've got 5 meters by 3 meters there, 5 meters by 3 meters there, and 5 meters by 3 meters there. So what we can actually say is plus 3 times by 3 by 5 meters. Because we've got 3 of them. You can obviously write it all out if you'd like, but because we've got 3 of the exact same rectangles, we can just multiply the area of one of the rectangles by 3. So 14 multiplied by 4, what we will obviously work that out on the side. So we've got 14 multiplied by 4, and we end up with 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so we've got 56 meters squared there. And we're plussing 3 times by 15, because 3 times 5 is 15, and 3 times 15 will give us an answer of 45 meters squared. So when we add 56 meters squared and 45 meters squared, we end up with an answer of 101 meters squared. Right, so the area of this irregular shape that looks like an E will give us an answer of 101 meters squared. Now if we have a look at the perimeter of this irregular shape, again we just need to add all the outside sides together. So let's count how many sides we have. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 sides all together. So we've got side plus 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 side. Let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. So now we need to get all our sides together and write it down so that we show all our working out. And we've got 9 meters plus 3 meters. So we're starting there and we're working our way around. Plus 3, plus 5, plus 3, plus 5, plus 3, plus 5, plus 2, plus 5, plus 3, plus 9, plus 14. So let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sides. Perfect. Okay, and we would obviously add all of these numbers together, and we would get a final answer of 66 meters. So the perimeter for this irregular shape that looks like an E is equal to 66 meters. If we would like to find the area of this irregular shape, what we need to do is divide this shape into different shapes that we know the formula for the area. So if we divide this shape here, we end up with shape 1 and shape 2. Shape 1 is a right-angled triangle, and we know the formula for the area of a right-angled triangle, or we know the formula for the area of any triangle. And we know the formula for the area of a rectangle, which shape 2 is. So for the area, we need to plus the area of shape 1 and the area of shape 2 together. So what we need to do as well is convert any measurements that are unlike the other measurements into that same measurement. So 1.3 centimeters, we need to convert into millimeters. So we know that 1.3 centimeters is equal to 13 millimeters. So we can cross that 1.3 centimeters out, and we can replace that with 13 millimeters. So now all our measurements are the same, and we can now work out our area. So let's start with shape 1. Shape 1 is a right-angled triangle. Remember that the formula of any triangle is half the base times the height, and the height and the base need to be perpendicular to each other. So there's our height, and because we know that this here is 11 millimeters, then our height here is also going to be 11 millimeters. Right, and then we've got our base over there. We know that from there to there is 13 millimeters, and from there to there, so this area here, this line there, is 6 millimeters because of that. So what is the difference? What is from there to there? That will then be 13 minus 6, which is equal to 7 millimeters. So our base, the base of our right-angled triangle, is 7 millimeters over there. 7 is from there to there. Right, so now we've got half our base times our height. So what is half of 7? Half of 7 is 3.5 multiplied by our height, which is 11. And that's in millimeters. They're both in millimeters. And then we work with our shape 2. So shape 2 is simply length times breadth. And remember, our length is 11 and our breadth is 6. So we end up with 11 times 6, or 6 times 11. And then we just need to work out what those are. So we would do that on the side. 3.5 multiplied by 11 is equal to 38.5 millimeters squared. And then we plus 66 millimeters squared, because that's 11 times 6. Right, and then we obviously just need to add those together, and we end up with 104.5 millimeters squared. So that is the area of this irregular shape. Right, if we would now like to look at the perimeter of this shape, we need to see how many sides we have altogether. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, because we are working with a quadrilateral. So we've got side plus side plus side plus side, and that is equal to 12 plus 6 plus 11 plus 13. And if we add all those together, we end up with an answer of 42 millimeters. So the perimeter of this irregular shape is equal to 42 millimeters. If we would like to work out the area of this trapezium, what we need to do is divide the trapezium up into different shapes so that we can work with the area of shapes that we are familiar with. So we can divide this trapezium up into one triangle there and a square there and another triangle there. These two triangles, 1 and 3, are equal to each other, and shape number 2 is a square because our height over here is 9 centimeters and our length there is 9 centimeters as well. So this ends up being 9 by 9. And we need to work out what this measurement over here is going to be, which will be the same as this measurement over here. So we need to say, well, there's one of our horizontal lines, 9 centimeters, and then we've got 19, which goes all the way along the bottom. So that is our entire base is 19 centimeters for our trapezium. So if that entire length is 19, and we've got 9 centimeters from there to there, then the rest of our base has to add up to 10. And because we know that this space here and this space here are equal to each other, we say 10 divided by 2, which will give us 5 centimeters there and 5 centimeters there. So because these two triangles are equal to each other, we almost don't need to halve our base. We can just keep our base as 5 plus 5, which is 10, because if you were to join those two triangles together, you would get a base of 10 and your height would still be 9. But let's just work it out separately just so that we can see how that would work out as well. So the area of this trapezium, we need to add shape 1, shape 2, and shape 3 together. So shape 1 will be equal to, because that's 9 there, shape 1 will be equal to half the base times the height, which is half the base is half of 5, which is 2.5, multiplied by 9, which is our height. And then we plus 9 times 9, because those are the dimensions of our shape 2. And then we plus again 2.5 multiplied by 9, because that would be the area of shape 3. So what we end up with is 22.5 centimeters squared plus 81 centimeters squared plus 22.5 centimeters squared. And if we were to add 22.5 and 22.5, we end up with 45 centimeters squared plus our 81 centimeters squared will give us an answer of 126 centimeters squared. So let's just have a look at this 45 centimeters squared. If we were to join these two triangles, triangle 1 and triangle 3 together, we would end up with a shape that looks a bit like this, with a base of 10, and our height is still 9. So if you wanted to join those two triangles together and then work out that area, you could have done that as well. So half our base here, so half of 10 is equal to 5, and 5 multiplied by 9 gives us an answer of 45 centimeters squared. So you could have done that as well. Right, so now the area of this trapezium is 126 centimeters squared. Let's now have a look at the perimeter. The perimeter is equal to side plus side plus side plus side, because we know that a trapezium has 4 sides. It is a quadrilateral. So then we add our sides together. We've got 9 plus 12 plus 19. Remember not to add these 5s because those 5s are included in that 19. And then we add our 12 there because these two sides are equal. Right, so if we were to add those numbers together, we end up with an answer of 52 centimeters. So the perimeter for this trapezium is equal to 52 centimeters.